For the next hour, Richard Nankivell speaks to Wolfgang Niedecken, the leader of Germany's most successful rock band, BAP.
Right, there we are. When I was at school, actually, I must tell you this, we had to, when we were doing German, study Goethe and Schiller and Thomas Mann and people. We never actually studied Kölsch, which is one excuse for getting this wonderful band BAP into our studios here at BFBS in Cologne, Kölsch country. Wolfgang, welcome.
Hello.
Now, that track we just played called Anna, which is about the only thing I could understand in it, that was from a fairly early album, wasn't it?
From the second album. It was the first album that we recorded as a rock band. The first album at all was one that I played as a so-called Liedermacher with a backing group. And you can hear it when you listen to that album.
Yeah.
This one is the first as a rock band. When Major joined the band, we became a little more professional. You must know that we started as a hobby band. We didn't know how to work with amplifiers, with studio techniques. We didn't know anything.
How many of you started?
We started 7 people. We started 76. And we recorded the first album 79. That one that we heard right now, that was in 1980.
We should actually at this moment say Prost, because
Prost.
We have a little something with us in the studio. I'm sorry it's not Kölsch. Very good. Now, looking back to whenever, 1976, it's now 1983, you're in enormous demand all over the place.
Yeah.
Why?
Everywhere in Germany, people seem to understand the Cologne language. We never expected that. We always thought that we would play in Cologne and the suburbs, and that would be it. But
everybody,
I don't know how.
Do you think it's probably because of the sort of dialect that you have that has made you popular, or the music that you do?
The combination of both.
I think I'm right in saying that you studied art, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Some years ago?
Yeah.
And were you writing songs and playing around then?
Yeah, I played around for myself, just for me and some friends on parties, and I never expected to go on the stage with that.
So you have been surprised by this?
Yeah, I'm surprised every day.
Okay, we're going to hear another track now. It's one of my favorites. I'll try and get the pronunciation right. Verdamp lang her. Is that
Yeah,
right?
long ago.
Long ago. All right. Well, there we are. Our English, long ago. Verdamp lang her.
Damned long ago.
Damned long ago. That album it comes from, which is unpronounceable,
Just to cut out.
Oh, no, right. Was a new record label for you, wasn't it?
We changed the label, we changed the record company.
Did you have a big row with Eigelstein?
No, we didn't. We couldn't exist as a professional band with Eigelstein because they didn't bring the LPs into the shops outside of Cologne and outside of the Cologne suburbs. So we had to play all the time just in Cologne, and you can imagine what the effect was.
Yeah. It's got a bit boring,
yeah.
A bit things like that. Now, I gather that you don't like playing in big halls. Is that right? Big.
We don't, because of the atmosphere. The atmosphere in halls up to 3,000 people is okay, but more than 3,000 people it's not good. We can't get into contact with the people. We talk a lot to the people. We react to things that the people do. And we played in front of the Rolling Stones in Cologne.
I was going to say that you were with the Rolling Stones last year. I mean, that must have been enormous.
Yeah, that was great, but we were so nervous, like never before and never after that.
No? Never again?
Never again.
No?
Like all these situations, like in a comic book, like trembling knees and, how you call that with the teeth?
Yeah. Nattering teeth. Nattering.
I couldn't speak. I couldn't walk. I couldn't eat. I couldn't anything.
Yeah. What did Mick...
Days before.
What did Mick Jagger think of it?
I don't know. We never talked about it. We met 2 days before in Frankfurt when I had a concert in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
We met just for the press to take some photographs for the magazine. So we had some small talk, but it was about 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was think he's a good guy, but he can't talk a lot to the press because everybody wants to talk to Mick Jagger.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the Rolling Stones?
Yeah, great fan.
Since when? Way back in the 60s?
Oh, way back in the 60s, from the first album.
Now, I know that you are a fan of the next person we're going to play. You don't actually know we're going to play this, but just have a listen to this. Well, there we are, Wolfgang, especially for you. You didn't know we were going to play that. He's your idol, Bob Dylan, of course, and the times they're changing. When I was at school, everybody listened to him. He was God. And I suspect the same with you. What was the attraction, or what is the attraction of Bob Dylan for you?
I guess it was Mr. Tambourine Man. I don't really know. Maybe it was like Rolling Stone, but there was something different in the lyrics from Bob Dylan than to the other songs. There was, in that time they had songs like If I Had a Hammer from Trini Lopez.
Trini Lopez goes back a few years, yes.
They had, what else? They had The Do Run Run.
The Crystals.
They had Ronettes, Be My Baby, and stuff like that. And I've been never interested in the lyrics. I liked the music, but that was all. And at that point, I found Bob Dylan. I said, wow, something's going on with lyrics, something interesting.
Because he had a lot to say, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot to say in your songs? I mean, are you sort of orientated towards what Bob Dylan was doing? He had a message. I mean, people called him a protester in those days. Do you have a sort of message in your songs?
We don't want to give solutions. We just say, here's that thing. We think about it. Maybe you think about it. What's your opinion about it? We try to find out what's going on.
But I think one of the things about BAP is that, particularly for us listening today, being basically a British audience, is that we don't understand the words, but the music's still good. So how do you get the combination right? Do you write both?
No.
Or does the whole band write both? Or
I write some basic materials, and I give it to a friend of mine, Major.
Sitting over in the corner of the studio.
And he tries to make it more attractive. And we change a lot of the music. Sometimes he comes to my place and he brings me a cassette, some music, and I can write the lyrics after the cassette. We change it all of the time, and when we practice, maybe it changes one more time. Sometimes it turns out to 4 or 5 possibilities. We have to choose one.
Now, if you do that, the whole band must get on very well together. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do what you do.
Yeah, it's kind of a family. And
but you must have arguments sometimes.
Everybody does.
And you just go away to the nearest pub and have a pint of Kölsch and then come back.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to your great love of Bob Dylan, and this actually is you doing your bit of Dylan. Wolfgang, that's great stuff. I mean, I've loved Dylan like you have for years. Perhaps you could pronounce the title of that, but otherwise I should be in trouble.
Under Leitplank.
He got it right. I'd have fallen all over it.
You know what a Leitplank is?
No.
It's things on the side of the road keep cars from falling down. What is it?
Oh, yeah, a barrier.
Yeah, it's about a car crash and about a vase, a bunch of flowers in a vase after some days after a car crash at that place.
In fact, there's a photo of this, I think, on the sleeve of your latest single, which comes from the live album, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Dylan was over in Germany not so long ago.
Yeah.
Did you get to see him?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him on Lorelei.
Have you ever met him?
No. Unfortunately not.
Yeah. There was he had a lot of criticism in the press when he was here because people said he just wasn't the same.
No.
You're a Dylan fan. What did you think?
You can't be the same after all that time, and people have to give you the possibility to change. What I like is that he changes all the time. He changed from style to style. When the Beatles recorded Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and the Stones had Satanic Majesty's Request, he recorded John Wesley Harding. Yeah. It was something completely different. He always did what he liked, and people now, when people say that it's religion stuff too boring or anything, they don't have to forget that he always does just what he wants, and
Yeah.
he's not interested in commercial aspects of anything.
Is that the view that you have of BAP, that they should be saying what they want and not what the record company thinks that you should want?
Yeah.
Now we come on to the highlight of this little session, because we have a couple of tracks from a live album, which is the latest BAP album. And a bit of the story behind this, you've been on tour, which finished not so long ago, didn't it?
We finished on 22nd of April.
Yeah.
And then we mixed the live album.
And when did the tour start?
The tour started on 1st of October last year. It was 130 gigs in 6.5 months. Yeah.
Now, where did it take you?
It took us outside of Germany too. We played in Amsterdam, we played in Zurich, we played in Vienna, and we played. When I look at the map, at the German map, we played in every city.
How were you received in, say, Amsterdam or Zurich? Because, you know, they got this extraordinary band from Germany who have a particular way of singing or speaking Kölsch. How were you received? Was it?
The most difficult thing was to play in Holland.
Yeah.
Because the people don't speak German. And in Switzerland, in that part of Switzerland where we played, people speak German. They understand German. And the way to the Cologne dialect is not so far. But in Holland, Netherlands, it's you have to go over 2 corners. You have to translate from Cologne accent to German, and then people have to understand the German. Not all the people in Holland understand German. It was difficult, but funny thing is that we had the biggest success outside of Germany we had in Holland. We came into the charts with the album, top 10, and with a single, Kristallnaach. Maybe because of people in Netherlands, they know what Kristallnaach is. It's the same word it's the same word in English, in Dutch language. It's a universal word, and they know what we were singing about, and they felt the atmosphere. That was it.
Well, we're now going to hear and relive some of that atmosphere with the song you've just mentioned from the live tour, and here we go.
This Kristallnaach.
Well, the audience loved that one, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
That's from your latest album, Live, which the album is entitled Best Next, which in English I think is Till the Next Time, isn't it?
Till the next time, yeah.
Now, before we went on the air, we were muttering about what we were going to play, and you said, don't play anything unless it's off the live album, because that is our greatest. Listening
really
back,
is.
yes?
I like the Leitplank, the studio version. I really like it. But there are some tracks on the studio albums that I don't like anymore, because they are not really living.
There's no atmosphere.
No atmosphere. We're just too shy. We're working in the studio, trying to get it without mistakes, and it was just too clean. And all the titles had the possibility to develop during the tour. And we recorded the album at the end of the tour. It's my favorite album, but I don't think that it's something extraordinary for a musician that he likes his last album.
But I think it probably sums BAP up in that you love appearing in front of audiences. And
we're a live band.
You're a live band. Of all the well-known tracks, I suppose all of them must be well-known, but there are one or two which people must ask for again and again. We've just played one. On tour, which one got the most applause, or which one was the crowd shouting for more than any other? Could you? They
didn't shout for certain songs. The reaction for Verdamp for the first tune. Bum.
Yes, and
just one tone.
Yeah.
It's like comparable with Rolling Stones' Honky Tonk Woman. You know, everybody knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Another kind of reaction from a love song like Du kannst, zaubere. You got the magic, and it's always different.
What's it feel like? Because I've never been in a rock band. I've been trying, but Barry Manilow wouldn't have me as his backup. What's it like when you've just described what you said, where you strike up the first chord and the whole crowd goes?
Yeah.
Do you feel really on top of the world? You're really going to give it to them? Or?
Yeah, it's not on the top of the world. It's like, I don't know the expression. What's that? When your hair goes up here.
Your hair stands on end.
Yeah.
Yeah? And
sometimes, yeah.
Whilst we were playing that track, our wonderful recording engineer today, Mick Kish, came in with a bowl of water. I thought it was for us, but it's not, because you've got your dog with you here in the studio.
Got the dog with me.
You're a great dog lover.
Yes, I am.
What's your dog called?
Blondie.
Named not after anyone particular?
No, not. I went to take the animals that they find in any place. I don't know.
Tierheim,
Tierheim. The same expression in English? No.
No.
Like kindergarten.
It's kennels or lost and found home or something, or Battersea dog.
I was looking for a black-haired, curly man dog to call him Dylan.
You call him Dylan?
And I just found found that one, and I fell in love with her. And she had the name Blondie before. I didn't get it.
Does she go on tour?
Yeah. She's got the option, huh? Kind of a flight case. Yeah.
Now, we were talking about the tour, and it spanned a very long time indeed. There must have been some very funny things happen.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I mean, either setting up the sound checks, or you go on stage and your guitar isn't plugged in or something, or string breaks. Can you recall any one incident which made the band laugh? Or
one thing in Marburg, you know what Marburg is? It's an old city with a lot of students, and they have a town hall with the seats. You can't take the seats outside of the hall.
Oh, they're all fixed.
Yeah, they're fixed. And people would sit during the whole concert, and after the first chord, they were standing up. And somebody behind the stage, behind the curtain, was crying, people have to sit down, otherwise we call the fire brigade. And 3 or 4 times I told him, call the fire brigade. I don't care if you call the fire brigade. And he called the fire brigade. We had about 40 people from the fire brigade behind the curtain with the whole uniform and his hats, his metal things. And we had to pay them.
Oh, did you?
We didn't, but we had to.
Otherwise they wouldn't go away.
I don't know.
Should have charged them for the seats.
I don't know how it ended.
Seeing BAP in concert without paying to get in, and they had to pay them to long live the foyer there. Yeah. Before we do anything else, can we talk a bit about money? Close to my heart, and I'm sure yours as well. With the enormous success of the band, has your life changed? I mean, now you must have money.
Yeah, we have the money, but we don't need the money. We like to have it. And to have the possibility to work without sorrows. Other things that changed was that we have to keep away from the bars we used to go before.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you still wander around the Altstadt here in Cologne, or do you get mobbed everywhere you go? No,
that's not the problem. It's the biggest problem is after a concert someplace in Heidelberg or any place we played, because all the people that went to the concert afterwards, they are in the same places that we would like to go.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And we always doing interviews, giving autographs, or we are not there just to relax. It's always just official job, and that is a problem for us.
Yeah, you don't have the relaxed atmosphere that you would have. Can you still wander around here in Cologne?
Yes, I can.
You can.
People in the southern part of Cologne, where we always live, they are used to us, and it's quite normal to see us walk around.
How much has money, though, changed your lifestyle? I mean, do you drive a fast car?
No.
An expensive house? Or
no.
No. Nothing like that?
No.
I was talking to a guy the other day from Spandau Ballet, because they were here recently, and I was talking to him about money, and I said, you must be able to live very, very nicely now. And he said, well, I do, but he said all the money goes back into the band.
Most of the money goes back into the band and into the security to work on, you know.
On a tour as large as the one you've just done, we're always hearing tales about, very well-known English bands, like Queen and people like this are always saying, or they pretend to say, that they lose money on tour.
We don't lose money.
No. And I wondered why they said that, because maybe they've got such enormous kit or lighting systems or something.
Yeah. We are on tour with some spots.
Yeah.
And we have 3 or 4 roadies. We have stagehands from the local promoter. We don't live in the big hotels. And we drive our own cars. The expenses are not that big like the international bands have.
Your English, if I may say, is very good.
Oh,
it's much, much better than my German. No. We've got a translator next door in case I go wrong. I gather you've been in America. You've lived in America or worked in America?
No, Manfred, it's a percussion player in the band. He lived for 1 year in New York as an assistant for an American painter. I went there to visit him. And sometimes people from New York come to see us here in Cologne, and it's the only possibility for me to speak English. And I didn't know that I had to speak English today. I was very surprised.
He's doing very well. Have you ever been asked to go with the band to America?
No, not to America. They told us to translate Kristallnaach in English and for England. But we didn't want to translate it. We think that we are a German band, and there are a lot of very good English bands in England and in Great Britain. And why?
But if EMI said to you, come on, you've got to make an album in English for release in England.
We wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No. We think in that language, and we can't translate it. It would lose something. Imagine the Rolling Stones would do an album in Cologne accent.
What would happen if they said, come and tour in England?
We would, but we would sing in Cologne accent.
But is there any likelihood of you going to England on tour?
Maybe we do. We never expected to go to Holland. We always said, oh, no, come on, Holland. We always said, why go to Brussels and Belgium? We did, and it was great fun. Maybe England would be fun.
Very good.
Yeah. We started for fun in Cologne and in the southern part of Cologne, and we were very happy to play in the suburbs, and we were very happy to play in Berlin and in the other parts of Germany. It was big fun in Netherlands. Maybe it would be big fun in England too. So
it's still fun now for
it's still fun.
What happens when it doesn't become fun anymore, where you go on stage one night and you think, oh, I've got to do all these songs again?
I think people notice that, and it will be the end of BAP.
Does it happen now, though, when you occasionally must have bad days? Do you think,
we have bad days.
We're tired or whatever.
But the audience bring us back to the point that they lift us, oftentimes.
Because it must be very tiring. I mean,
we change the songs and we change the program, but sometimes you're really down the whole day, and you get on the stage, you play for 5 or 10 minutes, and after 5 or 10 minutes, people get you back to the point that you think, oh, come on, now.
Can I ask what sort of music you listen to, say, at home? I mean, you've mentioned Dylan. What sort of other people do you listen to at home? What do you have in your record collection?
Got a lot of Springsteen, Kings, Stones.
Yeah.
I used to listen a lot to Genesis, but I think that's over, Genesis. I liked it, but now I just like, from that branch, just like Peter Gabriel. I like Icehouse.
What do you think of the material, say, in the German top 20?
I don't know the German top 20. I can't talk about it.
Do you think it is a bit too commercial, possibly?
Most of the songs, I guess, is from England or from America, from Australia. The Deutsche Welle is over. There were good bands in it, like Ideal, liked Ideal. And let's see what's over. I don't know. We have to talk about it 1 year later.
Can we make a note of that in the control room? He's coming back in a year's time. Before we wind everything up, may I play a track which is one of my favorites? You mentioned it just now, something about zaubere.
Ah, du kannst zaubere.
It's been great talking to you, Wolfgang, and thanks for coming in and putting BAP on the British Forces map. Anyway, they've heard of you before. Can we leave our little chat with you picking Wolfgang's very favourite piece of music by BAP? You must have one that's your favourite.
Oh, favourite? It differs every day. I don't really know. Maybe that one was my favourite. Think about what did... Maybe a very old one from the now version from the live album, Liebesleed. Maybe that one.
Right. We've got it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And continued success to BAP.
Thanks.
Long may you reign. We've booked an appointment to see you a year from today to come back and tell us what's happening.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for popping in. We're very proud of you here in Cologne. And I'm sure the audience are as well. So my German isn't very good, but zum Wohl.
Zum Wohl.
Alles Gute, and for me it's been a Vergnügen. All right?
It's a Vergnügen, you know.
Wolfgang, thank you very much indeed. Cheers now.
Vielen Dank.
For the last hour, you've been listening to Richard Nankivell meets Wolfgang Niedecken of BAP. The program was engineered and produced by Mick Kish.